So today we're going to be talking about how I retouch the eyes in my portraits. So we're going to go from this to this. And it's really simple, and I'm going to show you how right now. So let's delete the group and zoom into the eye. Before we can edit the eyes properly and get a realistic look, we have to understand how light hits the eye and how it exits the eye. And so if we zoom in here, you can see that there is catch light here, and so that is where the light is entering the eye. It's entering the eye here and exiting the eye here. The common mistake for photographers is to just lighten up the whole eye. That's not how light works with eyes, and so what we're going to be doing is brightening just the areas where the light is actually going through the eye. In order to do that, first what we're going to do is duplicate the layer by clicking Command J on the keyboard, and that will duplicate the layer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Filter, and then we're going to go to Other, and then High Pass. And so I like to keep the high pass around 5, and click OK. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have to make a mask, because obviously it looks kind of gray and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the mask icon right there, and then we're going to click on the blending mode, and we're going to change it to overlay like that. And then what we're going to do is invert the mask by clicking Command I, and that'll just create the black mask. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our brush, so click B for brush, and then what we're going to do is we're going to change the opacity to 70. So just click 7 on your keyboard, and that'll just change the opacity. And then make sure that you're toggled at white. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to go and paint the eye. Paint in the eye, like so. And what that's going to do is it's going to sharpen the whole eye, like so. And so here we can see before and after, and it's just a drop shot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to your adjustment layers, and then you're going to grab first layer. And what we're going to do is brighten the eye up. And so play around with the tone curves. What I like to do is I like to increase the midtones just a little. Just looking at the eye, don't worry, we're only going to make it affect the eye, so don't worry if the rest of the image is blown out. Maybe bring up some of the highlights, and then what I like to do is bring the shadows down just a tad bit, just to make them pop. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to invert the layer again by clicking Command I. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our brush, and we're going to make the opacity 100% and the flow at 10%. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use bracket key to make the brush bigger. And what we want to do is we want the brightness to affect the whole entire eye and not just the iris itself. So what we want to do is just go over each eye, make sure that the brush is big enough for the eye, and then click a few times, tapping on the eye just a little, and that will just brighten the overall area of the eye. Now what we want to do is we want to zoom into the eye, and this is what my favorite part is, and it's going around and brightening all the area where the opposite to the catch light. And so we want to spend our majority of the area brightening this area and not the whole eye. So what we're going to do is make sure our brush is big enough, and then we're just going to go in and paint light on the eye, just opposite this catch light area. So don't brighten right here or here, more around there, like so. Let's go to this other eye. Zoom out again, and then let's see before and after. So this is before and this is after, and it's quite a bit brighter. And you can see now that there's more lighter areas here, it kind of gives that more of a 3D look and it's not as flat. Right now what we want to do is, for the final step, is grab a new layer by clicking the new layer button, and then we want to change the blending mode to overlay and bring down the opacity to about 50. Now what we want to do is, with same brush settings, we want to grab the white brush, and so white is to brighten in the highlights, and so what we want to do is just sit there again and paint in the eye just ever so slightly, and go in zigzag motions, kind of just going in and paint into the iris like so. And after you've done that, then you want to switch the brush color to black by clicking X, and then we want to just sit there and paint in just strokes. So zoom out just to see what we're working with. Okay, and so now that we've done that, now we can highlight all the layers that we've just created and click Command G to group them. And then there's gonna be instances where this method is gonna be too much, like now. The whole goal is to create naturally sharp looking eyes without making them look kind of like not human. So what we want to do is, what I like to do is I like to go from 0 and just kind of drag that opacity slider just to get it to where I like it. And so I like to keep it around 75%. And so now we're gonna toggle this off and on just to show you before and after. So this is before and this is after, and you can see what a huge difference that's making. Her eyes are really popping. They were already popping before, but kind of gone the extra mile on that. And that's the whole goal of being a good photographer, is going the extra mile and just kind of paying attention to these little details. I hope you like this video. If you do, click subscribe just to keep updated with the more tutorials that I'm going to be making in the future. Peace!